Okay, hello? Hello, hello. Oh, I just realized this illustration looks really red. Okay. Anyways, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Let's just chill for a bit before we get into the tutorial shenanigan. I also need a new canvas. So we can have, or we can make the notes that we need to like how I draw effects and all that stuff. Anyways, welcome guys. It's been a while. Is how many days has it been? Yeah, I haven't been doing shit to the stream lately. Not gonna lie, I do feel a little. I don't I don't think it's burnout though. It's more like I'm just tired. I'm permanently feeling tired all the time. I'm now cursed, but it's also probably because of uh I haven't been sleeping well. I haven't been sleeping well. It's just I've been sleeping super late, like around 2 a.m. and 12 a.m. somewhere around that time. And that might be probably the reason why I always feel like crap. Anyways, let's go to the effects part. In this illustration, we have Blaziken. Pretty much, I just turned Blaziken uh into a human or into my style, basically. I also added tattoos, but unfortunately, that's not part of the tutorial. I think I streamed this at Discord, yeah, at our Discord channel. But I already have the effects drawn out here. So, let's go proceed to the tutorial part on how I draw them, how I color them, and how I render them, basically. So, we're gonna start off from simple to complex. And for now, let's have a gray background because, again, the thing when it comes to effects, especially when it comes to brighter effects, and since, fire emits light, obviously, we need a darker background. Uh, you might be asking, what's the reason? Well, you see, uh, light usually, I mean, you can have light in multiple colors, but typically, if you're using bright colors, which are usually around this region on the color wheel, you need contrast, basically. And if you're using a dark color, it's obviously not going to appear. And if you have a white background and you're using bright colors, it's not going to look as intense. You know what I mean? But I'll show you guys later how to, add contrast since, usually my illustrations only have white backgrounds because I don't want to deal with backgrounds. But that's enough of that. Let's go draw the effects. So when it comes to fire, there's like a lot of ways to draw this. Typically the most general, I guess cartoonish way you can draw fire is like, uh, basically it has sharp shapes, but it's also curvy, so it's a little bit different from the effects that we dealt last time, which is water. Oh yeah, if you guys have like suggestions on like what other effects to deal with or how to draw or whatever I got, you can leave there at the chat or somewhere I can see. Oh, and if you guys are like uh won't be able to stay within the stream or you're gonna miss out, Don't worry, I'll be re-uploading the VOD somewhere. Or the VODs are gonna stay here for a bit here on Twitch, on my Twitch channel. So no worries on missing out. I'll re-upload it to Patreon, to my YouTube channel, and all that stuff. So again, let's get back to the fire effects and all. No. Again, 3 general rule, or 1 general rule, especially when it comes to sizes. You want large, medium, and small. Obviously, the big one is gonna be the main focus. And the rest are just pretty much for variety reasons. Makes things flashier. And what I did here is pretty much the general main focus, as you can see with the size. So how do you add medium size? You can add them detached, and then you can add small particles as such. Try to scatter them as much as possible, or else everything is gonna look too organized to the point that it doesn't feel like an effect, you know what I mean? So you want to scatter them as much as you can. Try not to overwhelm it too much, because if it's too much, it might clutter your illustration. And sometimes you don't want that, because it's gonna make the whole thing messy. So you only kind of need a slight bit of mess right there. So another rule to take note of is the direction. Where's the origin and where is it flowing? Where is it going? Okay, let's draw another fire. I'm also gonna show how or what other ways to draw fire. So this is just a general shape and form of a fire, so no need to get worried about that part just yet. Let's just start with the basics when it comes to shapes and sizes. Now in this example, I'm drawing in the wrong canvas, I just realized. God damn it. Oh, hold up. That's so annoying. Okay. Give me a bit. Happens all the time. Pretty much. Okay. So, let's have the origin over here. The origin is basically where the effects is coming from. And, next to that, we have to figure out where the heck is the effects going? Like, where is the effects flowing, basically? Or what direction is the fire going? So you have the concentrated area over here. But the thing about fire is that it's very flowy, as you can see. But if I have to like break down the general like idea of where it's going, it's basically going upward. But the shape or form that it has is very curvy. But it's still going up, as you can see. And the other ones are like pretty much just curving around like so. But it still is pretty much going upwards, you know what I mean? General direction, and then you have like the arrows for like its form or how it's shaped. That's the directions that you need to be concerned about. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And now time to go for the shapes, or what type of ways in that we can draw fire. Oh yeah, by the way, this tutorial is probably gonna go all over the place. So it's not super organized, so I apologize for that. But and hopefully the idea is there, and you guys can understand it some way or somehow. Let me just move it right there. So you have this typical way of drawing fire, right? The good old uh, curvy, flowy kind. And the thing about this, guys, you can draw it, going thick to thin, by the tip right there. But you can also have it thick, like so. You can have it both thick. And yep, you can also go the other way around, which is going from thick to thin. Oh, pulled up the wrong area. So these are pretty much the general idea when it comes to like drawing these curves and or the flowy shapes of fire. And you can just pretty much combine them both. Oh, I forgot to mention the tools that I pretty much use when drawing effects is just the lasso fill tool, which I'm actually not sure if it's available to other softwares of your choice. But typically in Clip Studio Paint, it's pretty much a default tool that you can get. And this works best for me. But if I want to use a brush, I just use a big brush or a brush that can go thin to thick real quickly. Like I can even go bigger like that. But I always just use the lasso because it's much more faster for me. And with that, how do you basically draw the whole thing is probably the next one. And combining all of this. Well, it just kind of, I guess all you need to do is just pretty much practice. Or even try to look at other reference. Because it's really somewhat random for me. Or just something that you kind of get used to. Oh yeah, you can also add strings like that if you want to. It's really a matter of like what kind of style or fire art style that you want, because there are also kind of art styles that you can use or you can base out of when it comes to fire. But typically, if you just still starting out, I just recommend checking out other references, how other artists, visual effects artists, how they do it, and what's like their style or how they draw it in their way. And you just pretty much practice on like trying to get used to it to the point that it just feels natural. Like that. But as you can see, there's like a certain big shape. Like it goes like that. You can start up like that. And then you can kind of add like the spikes later as an easy way to do it. So start out with a big shape and then add spikes later on. It's probably one of the easy way that you can do it. Just like that. Now, this is just one way to do it. Shocker. FX is really dynamic, so it comes in like different forms and different shapes and sizes. So, next way that you can do it is like more explosion kind of, or what you typically see on explosions. So these are more spiky. You can also do the spiky method, like uh, last one, like last time we discussed on water, because this is also applicable to water. This type of shape. I just basically start off with a curve and then add spikes later, like that. Again, we're still sticking with the size variety. So basically, big spikes, medium spikes, and then small ones right here. Gotta keep that variety up. But typically, if you want your sizes to be like somewhat basing out of the direction, you can also do that. What I basically mean is that let's draw a curve. Draw a curve like that. Big sizes go here at the back, and then the small ones go here at the front. So basically, let's use a lighter color because I could barely see it. That's the wrong brush again. It's going to that direction, but the spikes are going to the opposite direction. This is like physics. But I'm gonna try to simplify it and not overcomplicate it. But basically, if the thingy goes that way, the spikes go the other way to indicate flow. So you can do it that way, but it's so uniform. But again, it's all about preference. And if it works for you, like it looks good on your eyes, then stick with it. You can also add like bits and pieces flying off to make it more dynamic, just like that. So that also works for fire. Oh yeah, you can also add strings. Anything to like add up. But once again, keeping it balanced and all that stuff. Man, my layers are all over the place, but I guess that's fine. But let's also try to do the explosion type of effects. Because it's pretty common when it comes to fire. Okay, hold on. I need to turn on the lights. It's getting cloudy recently because, you know, typhoons are really common around this type of months. Especially around this coming Halloween season and Christmas season. Look, here we go. There, I can see again. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy. And hopefully there's no electric power interruption. Because it's also common to happen at this type of time of the year. Hopefully that doesn't don't jinx it. Anyways, I guess the explosion is a little bit more complicated because there's a different way that you can do it. You can do it like the bubbly type of way, like that. I'm gonna explain how I draw this later. But there's two ways. Basically, one that pretty much looks like a cloud type of explosion. And there's one that just pretty much looks like a spike. Or a spiky one. No curves, just a lot of straight lines. Pretty much like this, but you make it form into a circle. Make it form like into a circle like that. And another thing is that you can combine both. You can combine both of these guys. Let me change the canvas size. We're running out of space real quick because there's fire is just so dynamic. Okay. Fill that up. Let's draw another cloud. It kind of doesn't make sense right now because it's all just shapes and silhouettes. But once we get to the rendering part or the coloring part, it's all gonna make sense. So draw a cloud like that, and then add spikes here and there. I don't actually often do this type of explosion thingies or effects because they take up a lot of space. So usually if you want the explosion to be like the focus of your illustration, then that works. But along with characters and then an explosion, it kind of overwhelms the illustration a bit because uh you gotta choose whether if the character is the main focus or the effects are the main focus. And if you want both, then you kind of have to balance both of them. Like, the effects isn't too overwhelming, the character isn't covering the whole thing, or just, you know, or is it barely even there, type of stuff. Would take also work with spark effects. Oh yeah, definitely. This one is probably the number one pick if you want sparks. Because it is pretty much a spark. The only thing is that whether or not you want it to be big or small. Oh yeah, you can also have like bits flying around. But it's really up to you if you want to add that up. Okay, now on like how I form this type of cloud thingy. The way I just pretty much draw them is just imagine forming circles in like a variety of sizes. Just like that. And then add them all together, pretty much combining them. Or morphing them into like a big cloud. So it's just basically a bunch of circles trying to form one thing. But then again, I kind of don't do this type of effects because they also usually applies on smoke, and I don't do a lot of explosion effects. But let me show you another way of drawing fire. This is more like plasma because it's basically a ball of energy. Here, let me draw it out for you guys. So basically, I draw a circle. That's the wrong color. I draw a circle. This is a little bit complicated because it kind of combines this one and this one and a little bit of extra. So basically, if you want to like form orbs, energy orbs or something like that type of effects, I basically start with a circle. And then you can either select this. You can either select this or not. It's really up to you. But typically, once I drew that, I pick an airbrush, roughly the same size of the circle or a little bit smaller than that. And then I erase it. So in that way, the inside is transparent. But you can also do this way, this type of way. Hold up. Let me draw another circle for you guys. That's the wrong color again. And then select this. Take an airbrush. A little bit, roughly around the same size as that. Erase the inside. Depending on how much you want it to be. And then make our airbrush a little bit bigger than that. And then don't airbrush all over the place, but just go around circle and wave around the circle, the center like that. And you pretty much have this type of thing going on. Okay, hold up. The rain is too loud. I can't deal with this. Let me get my earphones. Bear me. Okay, I can't deal with the noise. Hold up. Where's my music? I don't want to. Have it all too loud. I don't think a music's playing. Oh, it's a speaker. Oh, okay, that's too loud. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I didn't even realize the music is gone. Oh damn, was this super quiet? How about now? I tried to not super loud. Because even for me, my ears are gonna be overwhelmed. Okay, where were we? Hey, I love your drawing skill. I'm a beginner and don't have skill in drawing. Well, I don't think you're in the right tutorial, buddy. Well, I guess somebody has to start somewhere. And also, it kind of depends on what you're looking into. Or what you want to start with. If you want to start with effects, then that's all up for you. Anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, the orbs. So this is how I basically draw or form orbs. In the easiest way that I can do so. And now, what we're gonna do, let me copy paste that. You can pretty much let it leave it as it is. But let's add a little bit more to that. Add some pizzazz. So, I'm gonna take my lasso fill tool and what we're gonna do is add spikes to it. Like going around the orb. Like that. This is a little bit complicated because there's a lot going on. A lot of spikes are like forming in all certain kinds of direction. That. So it's a little bit complicated. But that's how I typically do it. Just a bunch of this kind of shape forming around the ball or the orb. So we have one going around this direction, going around this one too, and another one over here, and another one over here. But I also added something like a ring with the spikes flowing that way. It's a little bit overwhelming, but that's one way to do it. It's a little bit complicated, that's why I kind of don't recommend this. And just maybe just go on to the old route on drawing fire. Hold up, someone's calling me. Kirby. Oh, it's muted. Okay, I'm back. The rain is so loud right now. Hopefully my mic isn't picking it up. Is it picking it up? Hopefully it isn't. Cause it's really loud. But anyways, where were we? I think that's about it when it comes to silhouettes. Okay, little break. Let me just take a drink. No, I hear no rain. Okay, that's good. Anyways, where were we? I guess we can proceed to the colors now. Basic colors, basic. I really gotta stop saying basically a lot. Okay, let me pick out the colors. We are going with the 3 rules again. We need a base color. Base color, highlight colors. Highlights. And color that would just indicate the shadow. So, this is the most simplest color palette. It's a little bit different in fire, I guess. Or if we're going to like the traditional colors of fire, which is somewhere around orange. Because in water, you just pretty much have blue, right? A darker blue and, you know, a lighter color shade of blue. But in fire, it's a little bit different. So let's start out with the base, which is orange. Here. But in the highlights, we're gonna pick out yellow. And for shadows, we're gonna pick red. And if you could tell, this is kind of like part of color theory. Typically, shadows are like around this region, you know, purple, blues, some slight green here and there. And you have colors that are like much more brighter in comparison. But of course, your bright colors can also go dark. But if we're just talking about colors itself, it does make a difference. Or they are kind of divided in some way. Like, I guess it also has something to do with complementary colors. Yellow, pretty much the opposite side is blue, so the dark one is gonna be the blue one. And since we picked out highlights as a yellow, right? Which is pretty much the brightest color there is. And our base is pretty much orange, and our shadow is on the red. And you can kind of see their formation. Orange is in the middle, so that's why it's the base. And if you're gonna pick out a base, make sure it's gonna be like good as a milk color. So in that way, you have better contrast also. And what I mean by that, is just basically you can tell the colors apart from each other. Hey, Mr. Yoda, welcome. Where was this guide when I was making Bakugo banner? I was too late. But I probably made tutorials back then when it comes to effects. I guess this is pretty much the more updated guide. But it's still probably like the same. Okay, I'm getting distracted by the rain. Sorry about that. It's just really loud, man. And what the heck? What the heck? That is one heck of a timing also. We're talking about fire and then there's rain going on. Did you ever draw on an iPad? No, I have not. I used to have a Samsung tablet. The Tab S6, I think? I didn't like drawing on the screen, period. I just don't like it. That's why I have this. A screenless tablet. I got so used to this. To the point that drawing on the screen feels so wrong. For me. But again, this is all preference. But I don't think there's gonna be any sort of difference. You're still the one drawing. The only difference is they're gonna make is like the applications and where you draw to. But even that, at least for me, it's still not a huge of a difference. So, I guess the only important drawing tool, or if you want, the specific tool that I'm using, which is the lasso fill tool. I'm actually not sure if this is, you know, available on other softwares or applications. But there is Clip Studio Paint in the iPad if I and other certain Android devices out there. But I never liked drawing on like a portable device. I don't know, it feels more inconvenient to me rather than convenient. And also, I would just rather use a typical sketchbook, but even that, I don't even do that anymore. Again, I'm trying to avoid drawing on my free time. I'd rather be I'd rather do something else on my free time rather than drawing. Okay, let's color all of these guys up. But let us organize these folders because this folder situation is getting crazy. Okay. Let's draw a little base for our silhouettes over here. So I can show you guys like the basic way I color or render fire pretty much. Let's have that. Hey Neville, welcome. Welcome everybody. Again, if you guys hear any sort of rain, I have no control over that. Okay, now that our base is pretty much added, let's add the shadows. I typically go with the shadows first because I don't know. I much prefer it that way. uh, what am I drawing? I'm just talking about effects, fire effects, to be more specific. And I'll color the effects here on this Blaziken illustration that I have. Once everything, or once we get everything through. So, okay, now let's proceed to the shadows. Okay, there's two ways again when it comes to adding shadows. This is also similar to the water effects that we done last time. Oh, hold up. My hair is going all over the place. Okay. I keep getting so distracted today. Now, right now there's the rain and my hair going all around the place. So many stuff. Okay, let's start with the easy way on adding shadows. And that is just basically adding them on the inside. Just draw them a little smaller than the base, and then there you go. Add them on the inside. This is like the most easiest way because you're just pretty much filling the inside up. But you can also add spikes like that. Curvy spikes. As such. That. But this is easy. Because it's somewhat of a brain dead method, not gonna lie. It's pretty fast. You only need to fill her up. Heck, sometimes you don't even need to add them all the way. If it's super small, there's no point of adding them. Just like that. Typically want them to be more visible at the larger area. Oh yeah, you can also add bits of pieces like that. Whatever you fancy. It might be a little different on the clouds, but I'll talk about that later. Because again, I don't typically use them a lot. Then when it comes to sparks, again, you just pretty much need to redraw them in the sim or in a smaller version of that. You might be thinking, oh, why not just copy and paste and, you know, reshape the whole thing? You can, but to me, it doesn't look right, and it just comes across like cheap looking, so I'd rather not. And I'd rather do it manually, because that's the part of it. Again, if it's too small, there's kind of no point in doing too much. You can go really thick if you want to. Like, if you just want the base to be serving as like some sort of outline for it, then you can go ahead. Again, this has something to do with your art style, or sort of. There's a variety of ways that you can render this. Okay, this method might be a little different for uh this one over here, because uh I might need to use a transparent layer for this, so typically I use a multiply for my shadows. But if you're dealing with orbs like this, just draw a ball, but with some inverted shapes like that. There you go. But now for these explosion ones. I guess you can still do that, you know, just forming on the inside type of vibe. But I kind of don't like this. So, especially in this is much more specifically towards to this one. I don't do that method for cloudy kind of explosions. I just pretty much use or outline or form shadows by that. You're pretty much drawing cloud basically. So, the way to draw is just like this. You're just drawing scales. You're kind of drawing like scales. You're just doing that type of pattern. But you're also gonna be mindful of the shapes. Like, for example, if this is a big one, then you're gonna have to shape it around like that. So at least it makes sense. And the origin should be more crowded. Or have more shadows, basically. Or the ones further back. Further back. Have more shadows. And there, it looks like that. It looks like a looks like a popcorn. Or am I just hungry? Same goes to this one. The only difference is just it has spikes. That's the only difference. But the spikes usually forms around the corners, so you gotta be like that. This method probably takes up much more longer. Rather than the good old just put them on the inside type of way. But that's the shadows. Now for the highlights. You gotta make sure that the highlights are pretty much at the top of all of these layers. Or else, you know, it's not gonna be visible if you don't organize them a certain way. So, same thing, you just put them on the inside. That's it. And the way you draw their shapes is still kind of like that, but you don't need to cover the whole thing up. You could just add little bits of pieces right there. Don't need to fill up the whole thing. But yeah, if you guys have watched, you know, like last stream of how I draw or render Flutter effects, it's pretty much the same idea, pretty much the same method. Especially when it comes to coloring. I guess the only difference that they make is like their shape, but even that they're still pretty similar on a lot of ways. Oh yeah, you gotta make sure the way you draw them is equal to how the shapes are formed. Like you just don't want to like put them all over the place. You don't want that. You can cover some of the shadows, but you don't need to cover the whole thing. Just a few parts of them. Oh, I guess this one is gonna be a little different. Because you can put them just in the inside. But nah, I'm not gonna do that. Or maybe it's my style of doing it. Because since it's an explosion, and if the origin is over here, then you want the middle part to be the most brightest, basically. But I'll talk about that in the next method. This one is just basically, which is adding it on the inside. You can also have your highlights flying around. Really up to you. Oh yeah, you might be thinking it's fire. It's not supposed to have shadows. It's not technically shadow. It's just a darker area of the fire. So yeah, it's not. I only call it like that because it's easier to indicate or call it that way. But if you're asking, does it actually have shadow? No, realistically, it doesn't. It's literally a ball of fire. It's a ball of light. That darker area is just basically where the fire isn't too dense. Where it doesn't have too much light. There we go. Now for this orb. You can use an airbrush for this. Like that. You wanted to make it a little bit more glowy. But typically, just draw it the same way as you drew the shadow. But a little smaller. Like forming a ball. You can add bits and pieces flying. There you go. Now for the clouds or explosions. Okay, this is where you pretty much just add it on the inside. There we go. And just add it on the inside. No need to think about it too much. Once you get the hang of it, of everything, everything is just gonna flow so natural that you don't even need to think about it too all that much. You just pretty much let your hand do all the work. So, in a way, you're kind of building muscle memory for it. And if you have the muscle memory for it, you don't need to think about it. Because your hand is doing all the work. That's why muscle memory, or developing the muscle memory of it, not just for effects, pretty much to when it comes to drawing anything. Heck, even to other skills. Form a habit. Don't need to think about it. That's why you can kind of just see me like adding random bits and pieces with the lasso. And I don't think knew that much of it. And as you can see, that's pretty much it. There's also another way to on like adding shadows and highlights. And that's what we're gonna do next. But for now, I need to go to the bathroom. So, let's have a short little break. And I'll be right back. Okay, hello, I'm back. The rain stopped, thank God. But my hair is still a little wet, so I can't. Anyways, let us proceed to the next method. The next method, I don't know. I'm actually not sure if I can change the method for this one. Basically for the explosions in the orb, because that's how I just typically do it. And there's no need to change it. So, let me just cut some parts here and there. And I don't know where to start. Okay. Just select the ones that we don't need to edit. I'm pretty satisfied with how I render this for you guys. Because the other method doesn't kind of fit well to this, guys. And the one that we're gonna be doing next is basically adding the shadows, but at the edges. Or something that forms the edges of the effects. And this method, I pretty much just applied it there. I pretty much applied it to this one and this one. And the highlight is just basically using the method that we just done right now, which is basically adding them on the inside. And I don't think adding the highlights on like edges are gonna help the explosion. So we're not gonna deal with this tree anymore, but we will be doing this, guys, over here. So let's remove this, guys. There we go. Oh, dang. Oh, was it the wrong layer? My bad. Oh, okay. My layers were just not organized. See, organize your layers, guys. Because you're gonna face that type of disaster. Okay, this method though, we need to clip that because it's easier. And I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with the whole selecting shenanigan. You can also use the masking tool, but the masking tool confuses me. Like, it's like an overcomplicated clipping function. So I'd rather just clip or use the clip rather than mask it. I do use the masking tool, but only for certain occasions. And I would just rather use the clipping tool because it's easier. You just pretty much turn it on and off. But with the masking, you kind of just need to select a few stuff here and there, and it's just bothersome. So, just go with the old method. Or the easy one. Okay. Let's go with the shadows first. And basically this method just try to find which edge to add shadows. Again, this is kind of like, you know, the whole cube situation again. Find which side is going to be the highlight, which side is going to be the base, and which side is going to be the shadow. That sort of thing. So let's get back into it. I guess this one is a little bit tricky. Because you need to place them in a certain way. And it's up to you if you want to overcomplicate it or not. Like, what I'm doing right now, you can add more strings and stuff like that. If you want to overcomplicate things. But usually I just add stuff, add the shadows in one corner right there, and that's it. There we go. It's also kind of like the ribbon scenario again. Paper or uh whatever you want to call it. If you want to know how I add or what was the reason on why I form or add those shadows in this certain way. Basically the whole ribbon scenario. Like maybe if you have a ribbon for demonstration, you can use that as a reference. make it much more easier to for the brain to understand. But basically, the ribbon method is just or the ribbon thingy is just determining which one is the front and which one is twisting around the back right there. And that pretty much applies to what I'm doing right now. If you guys are curious on like how and why I add shadows in that way or that direction, pretty much that. But overall, I don't follow it all that strictly. As long as that it looks good, that's all you need. Don't need to overcomplicate it too much. You can just pick a side and add it there. I guess in some way, it does add a little bit more dimension to your effects, despite it's not really a completely solid material. But it does give the illusion of it. Gives the illusion of 3D. Okay, this explosion would probably make much more sense now. Because the highlights are gonna be in the inside. And on the corners. Probably the reason why I don't do explosions all that much. But it's more of like, I just don't have a type of situation that I can apply them to. Okay, there we go. Now for the highlights. Highlights are pretty much the same thing. You just add them in a certain edge, but you can also add them inside now because there's much more space. But the edge also works. Again, it's up to you if you want to have more details or overcomplicate how the fire looks. Oh yeah, sorry if I'm the ad is playing random times. I keep missing to cancel it or hold it for a bit. Cause my notifications, I can't hear them. I'm a little bit all over the place because I'm sleepy. Cause I slept around 2 a.m. Oh yeah, if you guys are curious on like if I'm gonna share this sort of notes type of thing, I was sharing it on my Discord or in my Patreon. For you guys, if you want to like download it or something, or if you want references. But honestly, you can just Google search for references easily nowadays. Man, still looks saturated. I feel like it's super saturated on my screen. My other screen, that is. My main screen sucks at producing colors. Okay, gotta make sure it's still coherent to direction there. And this one, you just put it on the inside. You can still do the edges, but inside is fine. It's pretty much up to you. You can also form this sort of edge. Like the highlight is beside the shadow. You can also do that one. Rather than being at the opposite edge of the material. Oh yeah, this is the basic way of coloring. The basic way of rendering. The complex part is, again, much more fiddly. You're not using regular layers. Or we're not gonna use regular layers. And we have a lot more time to be concerned about transparency. Or making the effects look more transparent. But yeah, those are the two methods. This one is a basic one where you just pretty much add it on the inside. And this one, you add it up by the edges. You can pretty much also combine the two, like I said. For example, the explosions ones, you could just have the highlights on the inside, and the shadows being the one that is like contouring the edges of the shapes and all that stuff. But that's the easy way. It's the easy way of coloring that. Let's go with the other method. Hold on, let me just organize my layers once again. The base is still gonna be normal. Gonna be set to normal, as you can see here. Hopefully you can see it. Does it? Oh, it doesn't show. This is a new window. God dang it. OBS, why? OBS is acting up, so that's not gonna show. But whatever I'm like, you can see my cursor hovering around here at the normal. That's where it's at. And no worries, we just need two settings for it. We just need the multiply and the glow dodge. That's all you need, basically. You don't need to check out other stuff. Unless you want to. But usually I just use those two because again, I don't want to overcomplicate. And I don't want to make this super fiddly even further. So yeah. And that. Oh, and another thing to take note of is that we may be using a lot more colors, but we're still following the basic rule of like highlights, base, and shadow. 3 colors. It's just gonna be a little bit more range to it. Maybe 5 range of gradation, basically. But overall, still pretty much the same colors, same principle. So let me just add the base for these guys. So this method of like rendering is definitely has a lot more layers. You're gonna make use of a lot of layers for this one. But that's the thing about rendering. You can keep going and going and going, and it's really up to you if you want to stop and just let it be. And once we're done with the demonstrations for this one, we'll be heading to this illustration, so I can finally finish that illustration. Or a way for us to demonstrate applying effects to our illustration. But before that, let me take your drink and let me take a breather because my throat is killing me. So I'm gonna play an ad, so let's have a short break. And we'll be right back. Okay, and are we back? Is the ad finally over? Sorry about the ads, guys. It's just, Twitch things. You need a hydrate button? Yeah. Let me actually tie my hair up for a bit. So, let's just chill for a bit. How long have we been streaming? Almost an hour and a half. Okay, let's get back to this in like, oh god, my glasses. In 5 minutes or 4. Let's chill for a bit. Let's chat for a bit. Cause, rambling about tutorial stuff or how I do things kind of tires me out for a bit. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's also kind of boring for me. Yeah, funny enough, I kind of don't watch any more drawing related stuff for some reason. I used to back then because, and that's how I learned. But recently I just stopped that. My YouTube feed is just a bunch of Pokemon related stuff recently. And Nintendo related stuff. All I've been doing is just drawing this DMC fan art. Oh yeah, there's a lot of video games. Not not super a lot, but still a significant number of like video games uh getting adapted into anime, which I guess is a good thing because back then people were really does not like the idea of a video game getting adapted into anything because it usually just fails and isn't loyal to the source material. But apparently, I guess the curse is broken now. It's only the live action, I guess, that is still cursed. Oh yeah, I fixed the 3DS problem. Apparently, Black 2 file got corrupted and had to re-download it. Oh, so it just bugged out. Yeah, I think save files can do that. Especially with those bootleg cartridges. Because it's pretty much just a memory card converter. But yeah, I haven't touched my 3DS in a while. I just bought a Switch. I've been playing Pokemon Arceus. And oh yeah, I'm also planning to still continue this series of like, using Pokemon references or Pokemons as my reference to draw characters or design characters. But I'm actually not sure what to do next. Maybe Arceus. Oh, actually, I do have Garchomp right next to the list. But after that, I need to compile batches of references once again. Yeah, I plan to get the Switch just to play Arceus and Smash Ultimate. Yeah, Arceus is just probably one of the best Pokemon that you can get. Pokemon game that you can get. Man, I don't want to buy the remakes, the Gen 4 remakes. They're so trash. I don't want it. But I actually did bought Pokemon Sword. I don't know, for some reason, Pokemon Sword, ironically, Sword and Shield, ironically, looks better than the newer ones. I don't know why. The newer graphics, I know that you don't care about like if you're buying Pokemon or playing Pokemon, you don't really bother with the graphics. If you're paying for like AAA type of tier, a price tag, I think you deserve like decent graphics. Whatever, rather than whatever is happening in like Scarlet and Violet, because Scarlet and Violet looks bad. It sucks to look at, and for some reason, despite the flag that Sword and Shield had when it comes to their terrible graphics, especially the way they render their trees, it looks better for me. Well, in comparison to Scarlet and Violet. But the best looking Pokemon game that you can get right now is probably Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap is probably high tier. And you know what sucks about it? It's not a game made by Game Freak. The best looking one is not made by Game Freak. Oh yeah, I got bad news for our boy Garchomp. After 13 years of being the OC tier, Garchomp has been dropped to UU. I mean, is it because he's not keeping up with the meta? The meta right now is like crazy. There's so many really OP champs or OP Pokemon. Maybe that's why. It's either he could not keep up or he's so overused that they're just let's not do that. Man, Scarlet and Violet looks so good. Yeah, I don't know what they did to the graphics. It just looks so bad. Even the art design of the characters, except for the professor, the rival, is good. Oh, the character design is. I have no problem with that. It's really just the graphics. And the way they designed their environment, they really gotta hire new, like, really good people for it. Cause come on, Scarlet and Violet meta is too overpowered. Yeah, he couldn't keep up. There's so many, strong, Pokemons right now. Well, a lot of them are hard to get, but or some really overpowered ones are really hard to get, but still overpowered nonetheless. But yeah. Anyways, let's get back to this one. Okay, I added a layer and again go around this part or this section in Clipsio Paint. Basically, it's the blending mode, and I just set it up to multiply because let me pick out the color. If I added that, you can see it's transparent, but if it's set to normal, it's very opaque. So you want that to be on multiply. And the way I'm gonna color this, or gonna add up the multiply, just do the edges. Again, you can do the ones with the inside also, because it's easier. Again, it's really just up to your preference on what method or what way you wanna go. But this is the way that I want to, or I usually do. Hold up. I am burping a lot. I mean, I guess it's because I drank a soda. Probably why. But yeah, just set that up to multiply, and I'm just gonna probably stay quiet because it's just the same old method. The only difference is that it's transparent. And we're gonna be using the airbrush more often in this method, so keep an eye on that one. So, I guess we can go back to rambling about Pokemon. I can't help it. And also, it's pretty much on theme. The reason why I started this tutorial thingy is because I'm dealing with Pokemons that has certain elements, so might as well. Oh yeah, I also kind of don't understand the new gimmick in Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. I actually forgot how the gimmick works. The gimmick is pretty much, the last one in Sword and Shield was Dynamax. But in Scarlet and Violet, I actually don't know. They just make the Pokemon sparkly. Oh, basically it changes your typing. Man, that is... Is it just me, or that is one heck of a complicated gimmick? Or at least for me. Because the last few gimmicks, like Mega Evolution and Dynamax, is just making your Pokemon stronger. But I guess this one is a little bit more tricky. Too tricky for me. Or maybe it's because I really do not I don't even have the chart memorized of like typings and stuff. I don't have it all too clear in my head. Still need to grab the wiki for that. Man, I am literally at an arrow at a place right now. Like back then we talked shit about like Sword and Shield. But now that Scarlet and Violet is released, I'm just like, you know what? Maybe you're not so bad after all. it's like Pokemon what was it? Gen 5 all over again. Like people didn't like Black and White, funny enough, initially. But now had time passed on, apparently it's not so bad. In fact, it's one of the best. It is aging poorly, huh? I know, right? Pokemon is like an abusive relationship. Like a next year that you keep coming back to. Oh yeah, isn't Toby Fox had worked with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet also? Toby Fox is basically, I think, the creator of Undertale. I'm actually not sure if he worked on the story because spoiler alert, I guess the story is apparently dark in Scarlet and Violet. Or maybe have I been consuming too much fucked up media? Because it wasn't that super dark. I guess it is fucked up since it is marketed for kids. Oh yeah, and Miko also had a collaboration with Pokemon last month. Hey, lots of collabs. But the graphics is still shit. Another thing with I'm gonna bring back Arceus. It actually works out well as an open world. I actually liking the open world aspect of it. Again, I don't like open world stuff because the thing is, if you have a lot of options, you can get easily overwhelmed and you just don't bother with it. But in Arceus apparently it's a different case. It's actually nice to explore. And let's be for real here. A lot of Pokemon fans are like saying, you guys are having a lot of problems with the graphics. So why not just rip off, pretty much make a rip off of Legend of Zelda? And they did, and it worked well. I mean, the graphics are still pretty subpar in Arceus. But if I have to compare it to Scarlet and Violet, it's better. Scarlet and Violet is just I have no idea what they done. What happened? Is it the shader? Is it the textures? It looks so wrong. Just go back to Sword and Shield. So how do you make Sword and Shield look good? Much more. When it's literally the most controversial when it comes to graphics back then. Because of the tree incident. And yet now it's looking better right now. Damn it, I want to play Arceus even more. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's kind of hard though. If you suck at aiming, oh god, you're not gonna have a great time. And man, playing with the boss fights in Arceus, I feel like I'm playing a Dark Soul game for some reason. It's a very funny experience. Highly recommend. The Dark Souls of Pokemon. Sword and Shield gets flag for black for Game Freak saying they cut the Pokédex in half for high quality animation. So I guess the graphics weren't really a big deal in Sword and Shield. Well, except for the tree one. And more of the animation. I mean, honestly, until right now, they don't have animation. Only in a few scenes. It just cuts to black and like you hear the animation. You don't see it. Like, how is it? Man, they also need voice acting, man. How are you still not improving? And the fact that, like, Bandai Namco, basically the one that made Pokemon Snap, made the better Pokemon game than you. And Bandai makes Tekken games, right? Bandai Namco. Yeah, they make Tekken games. They don't even make this type of games. I remember being pissed that Garchomp was cut out of Sword and Shield for high quality animation. Is the Pokédex still small there? I haven't remembered because or I'm not sure because you know they update and stuff like that. And you know, DLC shenanigan. Oh yeah, I'm a little mad that in Pokemon Arceus, apparently I can catch Shaman because you know I own I own a copy of Pokemon Sword Pokemon Sword, and you only need the save file in order to access that. But apparently you can also catch Darkrai, but you need you need Pokemon Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl to get Darkrai or to get access to Darkrai. And I am so mad. Out of all of the games that I need access, out of all of the games that you can condition us, why that one? I guess it makes sense because it's it's the same generation. But come on. That's like the worst one. That's like the worst game. Like you could probably own. But hey, I guess at least I got Shaman. Got the cute hedgehog. But I still wanted Darkrai, man. Come on. Anyways. Oh yeah, sorry if I'm not talking about that much on like how I draw it. What am I doing on these effects? But basically I'm just doing the same old method. There's really nothing to write home about. That's why we're just chatting. You know, of the Pokemon is still not in Sword and Shield, but the Garchomp was added in DLC. Well, it really, they're really racking up the exclusives. Well, I guess I forgot the name of the Pokemon. Corphish? Whatever that Pokemon was called. The fish one. Oh, I haven't been saving in like 2 hours now. Sorry about that. And there's pretty much a good, decent enough rosters of pseudo legendary in Sword and Shield. But yeah, the meta is taking a big turn in Scarlet and Violet. So I looked for my old Platinum game and used to finally get Darkrai Shaman and Arceus events in the game. Oh yeah, do you need the plate from Darkrai? No, you need to... Do you? I'm actually not sure anymore. Does Darkrai give up a plate? I forgot. I forgot. Because I know Giratina gives off of a plate. In order to summon Arceus and all that stuff. I'll figure it out later. I'll probably just buy a used cartridge for like Pokemon Brilliant, Diamond, or Pearl. Which one is the better one though? I actually forgot like the differences between the two. Because I use Platinum, because Platinum is obviously the better choice. In Gen 4 games, you need to get event items for Darkrai, but I never got it. So I hacked the game 2 days ago. So it's much more easier now in Arceus, apparently. You just need a save file. For this certain games that you don't need to play. Or that you're probably not gonna play. But yeah, Arceus is pretty much Breath of the Wild. But I guess that's a good thing, because Breath of the Wild was good. I haven't played Breath of the Wild, okay? I haven't... Not super huge on Zelda games. But I guess this is a good start. Maybe I should try it next time. Okay. Gonna add the highlights now. Same old method of adding them. Only this time, I set it up to glow dodge. So same color. You might be thinking, hey, you told us there's gonna be more colors. Well, you just need an airbrush for that. You don't need to like bother with the colors all that much. If you're not super big onto like what do you call this, cell shading, and if you want to like soften the edges a little bit, you can do it like that. Just to make things a little bit more fancy. You don't want it to overdo it. Have the airbrush and just do that. Okay, now we can add the highlights. Just see if the colors are looking right. As you can see, it's also somewhat producing colors that we don't really pick out. A little too intense, but I'll airbrush it later. Right now, let's just shade the whole thing. And what's neat about it, it's that it's transparent. And that's pretty much the only reason why I use blending tools, or I changed the blending mode of this. Oh, my notifications is popping up. Something. Oh yeah, I haven't experienced trading before. I need a Nintendo account for that. Because in Arceus, you're really collecting a lot of Pokemon. Oh, you need Pokemon Home, I think. Yeah, I'm actually not sure if that's... It's probably part of Nintendo subscription thingy. But, oh, hold up. Posture check. My back is killing me. Oh yeah, if the red is looking a little too orange, you can adjust the colors a bit. But right now, it looks fine for me. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. Oh yeah, what was Spiritom's typing again? I know his weakness is fire type, but I'm actually not sure of his typing. Because I'm planning to catch him in the future. Dark and Ghost. Because every time if I hear fairy, I'm just like, oh, it must be a dragon. Is it weak to fairy? Oh, it must be a dragon. Oh yeah, if you're curious on why I choose the glow dodge, or why do I even bother with either using multiply or glow dodge, in multiply you can pick up the same color and it still appears dark. Same goes with glow dodge. You pick up the same color as you can see as the base, it's gonna show up much brighter. So if you're maybe you don't want to bother with like color picking all sorts of kinds of colors and you just don't want to pick it up, you just keep using your base color for everything. All you have to do is change the blending mode of your layer and it works like a charm. It looks really intense right now, but we'll be using the airbrush to pretty much soften things up. The reason why I don't use the airbrush right from the get-go is because using the airbrush is so tricky and you can barely control it, so I'd rather not. I just would rather use it for like for really minor things or something that I don't have to use for a long time type of situation. It's very good for rendering, but not a tool I would recommend for beginners because it's soft edges. And softer edges are just harder to control. And would leave your illustrations vulnerable to muddy, kind of muddy looking. But right now I'm gonna grab this, and as you can see, it's blending in with the red. Airbrush that. Oh, and I also set it on erase. So if you have like a soft eraser, that also works. Bro, I mean, this Poison Gym in Black too, and I'm shocked to hear voice acting when the gym leader is singing. But that means Sword and Shield singer gym leader could had a voice actor. How about just hire a voice actor in general? So in that way, the plot or the story is much more engaging. Yeah, it's you can just read it, or something like that. But most of the players are just probably mashing A. And hearing actual people is much more engaging rather than reading a block of text, a slab of text. Especially towards like uh someone like me. I don't like reading. If I try to read the first sentence or slab of text, I would just skim through it. Just like, yeah, yeah, this and that. But reading the whole thing, you would not see me do that. It takes forever. And I'm too impatient. Okay, I'm gonna add another layer. Another glow dodge, basically. And if we want to make it glow, again, just airbrush the whole thing. Like that. Make it look bright. Make it look like it's glowing. There you go. You can also see that the reds are also turning into something much more saturated, which is nice. But the thing about Pokemon is that they fail hard on graphics or aesthetic wise. And sometimes the story is a hit or miss, sometimes it's rushed, sometimes it's not. Just doesn't make sense sometimes. But the department where they don't fail is definitely the soundtrack. Their music is just good. It just doesn't fail. And they just don't they can't go wrong with it. But anything else they pretty much hit or miss. I guess when it comes to character design, it's pretty solid. Some are pretty good. The Pokemon designs, however, nah. Sometimes. Oh, and you can also, I have a specific brush where it just, add droplets. But you can manually do this and just tap. Don't overdo it though, or else everything is gonna look sparkly. But hey, it's up to you. If you want to have a lot or just a few minimum. Yeah. You can also, again, airbrush it to make it look a little faded on some parts. Keep the variety up. And there you go. And if it's too intense, just adjust the opacity. Like that. It's a little too bright. Oh, and this is pretty optional. So you can do this or you can just skip this if you want to. But typically I tend to add outlines. That brush was way too big. Okay. You can add outlines to your effects. There's an easy way and there's a hard way to do it. Easy way is just basically, let's see here. Nope, this is the wrong layer. There's an easy way and a hard way. Just delete. Adjust some things here. Okay, let's see. Darker color. This is the easy way to do it. Basically, I go to the layer property, and then go to the effect, and add in border effect. You can make it thicker, or you can make it a little bit thinner. Do note though that it doesn't work with ones that has like softer edges. As you can see with the orbs, it doesn't work. So if you have like solid fills, this works fine. But the other hard way is just literally you redrawing the whole thing. So it's not easy, definitely much more time consuming. But you can have line variety with this one. Let me just demonstrate it to one thing because it just takes up a long time. I don't like it. But this is pretty much a stylistic choice, so you can skip that one if you don't need it. And now let's apply that to this illustration. Finally. Man, we've been going on through like 2 hours for that. Okay. Anyways, let's go with this one. A lot of layers that I'm not using here, but for some reason there. Okay. We have the base here. Let's turn off that. And the base color. Orange. We need to double check the colors later. Because again, my main monitor is not very good. I have to double check and readjust colors over and over. But since I've already got the fighter drawn out, all we need to do is pretty much just color it and render it. So let's have the base there. Here's another thing when it comes to rendering. You can actually have your base layer set to multiply, just like that. But we don't need the whole thing to be at, multiply. We just need a few parts of it. We only need a few parts of it to be transparent. So let's pick this one up. Actually, it kind of looks fine to me. Now that you think about it. But let's have it. Just in case. Let's cut that part out. And then set this to multiply. Things a lot right now, but okay. I mean, you can also set the whole thing multiply, but I don't want to, so let's just set that to normal. You can just split the two up. Now let's add another multiply. It's really a lot of layers. Sum it up. And apply the shadows. Or the darker areas of the fire. Oh yeah, if you guys have like questions and stuff like that, let me know. I'll give it a try to answer. Oh yeah, we can also have the outlines for that if we don't want to manually do it. I kind of don't want to manually do it because I'm lazy. So you can just do this, the easy method. Because you're pretty much making it, it's pretty much automatic. Oh, that's a very dark red. Go. I'm gonna use a combination of like the inside and also edges. Again, you can combine both. There's no need to be too strict on like what method you should go with. Because again, it's effects and as long as it looks good, that's pretty much all you need. The ice cream and trash Pokemon. Oh, you're gonna have a you're gonna have a you're gonna have a field trip in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There's just dead ass a Pokemon that is straight up a vehicle. Like, come on. And I'm not even talking about the legendaries. There's one Pokemon in there that does look like a Jeep. Let me see if I can have a border effect here. Probably not. If you don't want to multiply that, I guess you can do this. Or you just basically lower the opacity. And the damn literal flamingo. Oh, I'm fine with the flamingos and the animals. A vehicle though. What was that? Why? How did we come to this? And no, again, I'm not talking about the not talking about the legendary. The legendaries are fine, I get it. But there's a literal truck looking, Jeep looking Pokemon in this generation. What is going on? What about the literal golden statue? Oh, actually, that That Pokemon is pretty OP. Pretty much dominated the meta. It's pretty hard to get though. But come on, it looks goofy. It looks too goofy. Yeah, I'm almost done with the shadows. I'm gonna go with the highlights next. I'm gonna make this feet a little darker. Just for contrast. Again. Not the whole thing. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now for the highlights. Again, send it to Glow Dodge. I guess I could airbrush a few corners here and the shadows before we proceed. Overall, it looks fine. Man, my voice is cracking. The weather is coming to me. Okay. Do the highlights. Oh yeah, I'll also gonna airbrush this later. Hold on, let me just adjust the colors. This contrast is not enough for me, at least. Or it seems. No, I'm in the wrong layer. Or I just don't like the base. Maybe that's it. Now let's adjust it to something more yellow. Hey, Belly, welcome. I'll probably add another highlight where it's much more brighter than yellow. Probably, white. White color. Just to make the make the colors a little bit have more range to it. Because the yellow is, the yellow and red are kind of boring me. How's the stream today? Oh, pretty good. My throat is somewhat killing me. So far, it's pretty good. And we just rambled about, like, how I render effects. Or specifically, fire. Hey, Etsy, welcome. Freaking notification didn't notify me again. Oof. Big oof. Don't worry to the ones that missed out. I'll be re-uploading this later in case you guys want to replay it. Maybe in case you want to rewatch it in case you missed anything and all that stuff. But yeah, big oof. You missed the tutorial part, but you were in the demonstration part, right? But yeah. I can't say or add anything anymore because uh, pretty much what I talked about here is just pretty much the same thing I do here. Just add the basic colors, edit it to a certain blending mode, and pray to God everything looks alright. And there you have it. Okay, the yellows. Oh, wrong brush. Wrong brush. There we go. Looks intense, so I'm gonna airbrush that. And I'll probably add another layer. Oh, yeah, I forgot this part of the fire, but you can actually add like really dark shadows or just black in general. You can add it on fire because it kind of appears in fire. I'm not sure how to describe it. Uh, hold up. Let me find an image for it. Let me find an image. I don't think I can find a decent image for it. But I guess you can pretend it's like the coal or something like that sort. But since, fire isn't really a solid thing, and it's just pretty much, similar to air, we just blow in bits of it. There are parts where it's really dark, or it just straight up look like black. So you can also add that. But again, it's pretty much optional and pretty much up to you if you really still want to add more like contrast and more range to it. And it doesn't have to be solid like this. You can have parts that is solid, but usually I try to soften things with the airbrush. You can do that, and then maybe soften it with an airbrush like that, and then fill that up again. Fill in the gaps. Makes it a little bit too much or too overcomplicated, so be wary on trying to use this. Or make sure not to. Oh, hold up. Something was vibrating. Was it my phone? Yeah, I'm failing at coloring. Oof. But yeah, I don't blame you. Color theory is something. But hey, if you're struggling with colors, grayscale is gonna be your friend. Speaking of coloring, our midterm plates is a portrait with color pencils. I'm fucking exhausted. Bro, coloring with color pencils is miserable. Oh my god. If you're like using a big canvas or a big sketchbook or whatever, if you're using a big canvas and you're planning to use color pencils, you're yep, carpal tunnel syndrome right there. That's how you develop it. That's how you get it. You're gonna have your wrist is not gonna have a fun time. Because some color pencils, or a lot of color pencils, they're not really big in size. So, trying to cover the whole thing, or the whole canvas, is gonna be a pain in the ass. Because you're just pretty much doing this. You're doing this. Most of the time. Or most of the coloring process. That is miserable. But if you're only drawing a small thing, yeah, it's fine. It works. But on a big one, nah. Use markers, please. But even markers are like expensive as fuck. And probably the reason why I stick to digital ever since. Art materials here are expensive. And finding decent art materials here is hard. You can only get them overseas, so you either have to, like, I don't know, use Amazon or any sort of sketchy looking website if you want a specific brand that God knows whether or not it's gonna ship soon. You're in for a pain. I never touched color pencils. I used to use them, but I never got into them because it was just too painful for me. It's a lot of doing this, so I don't like that motion. Heck, even you can see me when it comes to coloring. I'm just like doing a few strokes and just tapping with the color fill tool. Because again, it just reduces pain for your wrist overall, so. Also, why? This is probably the first time I've heard an art school making color pencils like mandatory. I mean, yeah, it's not like I'm validating it. It's more like typically or what I usually hear is that they use, I guess, a much more traditional medium, like, you know, oil-based stuff, acrylics, that sort. But never this one. This is new. Never color pen. At least that class didn't force you to draw with period blood like my modern art class. Jesus. Is still going around with that? I know a lot of art form is valid, but holy crap. There are some art methods and artworks that are just like, you know what, keep it to yourself. Nobody needed that. Nobody wanted that. Unprompted. Nobody asked for it. And that's like hazardous. Hazardous? Hazard? Hazardous? And who even is gonna supply you with period blood? That's not even legal. Yeah, it's like a... like calling another epidemic. What is biologically considered a biohazard? A university can require you to work with something biohazardous. Exactly. But then again, we did have like... we did try to like dissect a rat back in biology, so... By the way, I hated that subject because... actually, that's a strong word. I didn't actually hate it. But I hated that part of the subject where we have to dissect a rat. Because... we have to provide the rat. Why? I know our grades are in the line, but the fact that we also have to provide, like, the fucking rat... is just... come on. I paid tuition for this? And apparently the lab was the only one that we're renting. Or we're using. I thought so too, but apparently it's true. Then again, there are crazy people skipping the biohazard warning. Yeah, you know. Like the one we had to dissect the fucking rat. People are probably gonna think that, oh, yeah, it is a white mouse, so I guess it's more of a mouse rather than a rat. And, but either way, the fact that we had to provide, someone had rabies. Someone had rabies. Because, and it's my friend. A friend of mine, you know, we have to provide the rat, so we have to bond it ourselves from the fucking pet store. That poor pet store, man. Those poor rats, man. This is what they're destined to. And then, you know, we're gonna carry it to fucking school. By the way, we're not... a lot of the students at that school aren't really particularly living near to that school, so we have to go through transport and shit. Like, maybe a couple of minutes and stuff like that. And he got bitten by the rat, so he's at risk for fucking rabies because of this. So great. The shit we do for grades, man. Gonna endanger our lives for this shit like this. The red... the blacks are a little bit too much. Might just do dark red. Scratch that. I'll still add the blinds later. Just not right now. Rip to Remy. R.I.P. Chef. R.I.P. to the little chef. Okay, I'm adding ink feels, but in a much more subtle way. It probably looks overdone right now, which I typically do not like for my effects. But I ended up still doing it because I'm impulsive. And we're also still gonna add highlights for this, so we're not done. But yeah, sometimes school. I mean, let's be for real here. School just ignores a lot of stuff or a lot of issues because a lot of them just doesn't go reported, or the teachers pretty much just ignore them. They'll, especially here, they'll just, oh, suck it up. They'll just pass it as like that. Like, oh, just be strong. Don't be too weak. That type of behavior. But overall, it's a good thing everything was, at least at suboptimal safety. Except for the rabies part. Yikes. I had to go to a clinic for that. Or visit a doctor. And get a few shots. Okay, gonna add another layer of highlights because apparently this wasn't enough. But yeah, that's just the thing about rendering. It's just a lot of layering, layers upon layers upon layers of colors to the point that you could barely keep up. Low dodge. Let me just check if it's looking right. Because sometimes even I have to like double check, like, uh, wait a minute, does this look right? Wait a minute. Because sometimes you can get lost to the process to the point like, oh wait a minute, is this even a good idea? Double check yourselves. So I basically, so I guess I have double highlight layers. Double the highlight layers. Because one isn't enough, apparently. Yeah, that's just the thing about rendering. And the thing is, I can keep going and going and going. It's really up to me whether or not I'm gonna stop. Gonna redo the shape there. I want it to look more fire-like. Probably erase that here. One sharp edge. I'm more surprised that we didn't use frogs for like dissecting. Because typically it's frogs, right? Oh yeah, we also had to take like blood samples of us. Like in order to test whether or not what type of blood type we are. I found out I was AB positive. And apparently it wasn't common here. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I was like mixed kid. I was the only mixed kid apparently in our class. We also have to speedrun. That was a test, by the way. We have to speedrun those tests, so we have to like puncture ourselves at our finger, get a blood sample. And everybody was nervous for... Looking back at it, being nervous about it was kind of stupid. Because we typically pretend like grades are like the biggest thing about our personality, it seems. But looking back at it, I wish I didn't take it too seriously because it was pretty much kind of stupid. Like, look what look where I ended up. Took school too seriously and now I'm a dropout. Don't drop at school unless you know what you're doing. I remember in high school in the bio class we had to dissect a big fetus. Why? What is with these choices of animals? I guess it makes sense we didn't do a pig because pigs are pretty much expensive here, and we don't know how to uh where to get a fetus of a pig. Okay, I'm just gonna double check this if it looks alright. For the outline, I'm not sure if I want to make it thicker. Oh, mostly because pigs for some reason has similar organs to humans. I mean similar organ placements. Oh, that makes sense. But us dissecting, if I remember correctly, we just, you know, pointed out the fucking organs. Like, oh, look at the intestines. Oh, there's the lungs. There's the heart. And that's it. We just literally open up the rat, and that's it. We just point out what parts are, like, we can identify. And what kind of opening that we do. Like, I think there's a specific term when you make a cut. You know, when it comes to the medical field, there's a lot of specific stuff. I'm gonna support a little bit on the outlines. That's weird. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer, no wonder. I was wondering why is it filling it up when it's not supposed to. So I was in the wrong layer. I think my class is trying to teach us how to dissect humans. I mean, that's pretty much and doctors have to, or surgeons specifically, have to go through. Funny enough, I did consider trying to be a surgeon. But I was like, 10 years of school? Nah. Student loan debt? Nah. But for some reason, my Asian parents does not approve of it. I'm literally I'm literally stepping up to be like, hey, I want to be a doctor. Nah, no, you don't. Because apparently watching a K-drama with a bunch of doctors was enough to motivate me to like get into the medical field. But I did also have like an interest when it comes to anatomy, so I did consider it. But hey, shocker, Asian parents. But then again, people here much prefer you to uh go for nursing instead of doctor. Because you know, doctor takes up too long. So might as well just be a nurse. Because it's apparently the same thing in their eyes. Wait, what? Your parents didn't want you a doctor like my parents? Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit taken aback. And it's not like my grades were failing. But it's probably because of the financial status. Being a surgeon here isn't really the cheapest choice to get into. And there's not really a lot of good medical school here locally at our place. But yeah, apparently my Asian parents doesn't want. They do want me to become an engineer though, which is something I do not want. Because they think that being an engineer is like, oh wow, instant cash, right? Instant cash money, right? But in actuality, not in this country. There's actually, I think we're almost like India situation, where there's too many engineers to the point that there's not really a lot of job opportunities anymore. And my parents wanted me to become a doctor or government worker. Oh yeah, that too. Any sort of office job that you can get into the government's office apparently is the way to go. Which is kind of weird for me because our government is barely doing any shit here. Do you know how long it took for them to establish a fast food restaurant here? It wasn't only until recently. Like what, a year ago? 2 years ago? And they keep spending their money on like refixing the roads for some reason. The road is fine. I mean, yeah, it gets flooded like crazy, but trying to fix it and then break it again because apparently there was a mistake in laying another layer of asphalt was crazy. Traffic was crazy, and I was a student back then. Didn't your town spend most of the cash on the new church? Our churches look like shit here. So actually, no. The ones that are actually donated to the church are just like, uh trying to keep up with their image, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I donated to this church. Yada yada yada. And they think that it's like a way of buying votes for them, basically. And also, yeah, our churches look like shit. It literally got wrecked on the last typhoon. Oh, okay. I'm still not satisfied with the colors. I don't know why. What is it about these colors, man? Look at it, too yellow, but that's how fire looks. I don't know who I am anymore. Uh, uh, see the before and after. That pretty much looks the same. Much more yellowy. Oh, wrong brush. This time, still probably gonna add another layer of highlights. But I just need a solid fill for this part. Because it's still too transparent. And you can pretty much skip this. It probably looks fine already, it's just me. I'm just bothered. That's why I'm still at it. Now that I think about it, I don't think they still repaired some damages that happened during the typhoon. Or that happened on the typhoon. Again, I'm not surprised. Our town is boring. That's it. Period. There's barely anything to do. When we want to go, like, I don't know, a tourist attraction or anything to hang out to, we get out of town. That's what we do. We go to the city right next to us. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I feel like I'm overdoing the effects, and yeah, I should just stop because it's going a little bit too much. Point. But that's pretty much it. I guess I can add the little sparkles. Only a few. Only a few like that, and I'm gonna call this done because this might end up looking a bit too much. Okay, I just need to edit the shadows here. Do a solid fill or should I do a gradient? Let me copy paste in case I want to go back. There's a big blueberry one. Oh, that's the wrong brush again. I should really keep in track of my brushes. I do a terrible job at it. There we go. All I need is to add my signature. But I guess I guess I'll do this on stream. If we talk about Kagurabachi, I don't think we have. Or I don't think I recall. Anyways, hold up. I'm gonna play an ad. I need to go to the bedroom real quick, so BRB guys. Okay, I'm back. Anyways, where were we? Okay, let's just chill for now. How long have we been streaming? How long did I set the stream up? Actually, did I set the stream up to 4 hours? Well, I guess that's it for all the fire effect shenanigans. After this, we're just gonna chill. Yeah, Kagurabachi is a new shonen manga that is for some reason being memed on LO. Wow, what happened? I have not heard shit on any sort of shonen stuff anymore. I do recognize him because of the pose, because it's all over the place for some reason. But apart from that, I know nothing. I haven't read manga. I haven't read shit. I haven't watched. I haven't watched shit in forever. Actually, recently I've only rewatched like, anime that I've watched way back then. Like last time I rewatched K-On! Because K-On! Is goated. And also I just have a hard time watching newer animes for some reason. I just hate everything now. Is it overhyped or not? I have no clue. From what I've read, it's so generic and people like call it the Morbius of shonen manga. Nah, it's being memed on with the over. I read it, yeah, it's generic, but I like the art with the bloody scenes. So it's trying to be the new Demon Slayer in manga form. I honestly don't care about shonen manga anymore. I'm done. I'm so done with anime. I don't know. And recently, if I'm watching new anime, I'm not watching it for the sake of the story. I am not watching from the sake of like character arcs or whatever type of element that is showing. If I'm watching something, especially in the shonen sphere, like for example, if I watch Chainsaw Man, I did. Honestly, I much prefer the manga. But if I'm gonna watch it, I'm only purely watching it based out of its animation. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the characters. I don't care none of that shit. I am just watching it purely because I want to study how the fuck they animate a certain thing. So it's basically my walking my walking reference. It got one chapter in its peak manga apparently. It's trying to be Demon Slayer with Chainsaw Man paneling and Jujutsu Kaisen-ness. And the MC is a plank of wood personality. It's Sword Art Online all over again. Instead of an isekai, it's the shonen manga of Sword Art Online. Okay, where was I? He even got Tanjiro's Wonder Sword ability. The manga probably read all of this manga and like blends it, and voila, you get a you get a $1 million franchise. But yeah, I kind of don't watch anime anymore as a way to enjoy or a source of entertainment. It just ends up being like work to me. Like, oh wait a minute, how do you animate that? Oh, I have to study this. Oh, look at this drawing. Oh, that's so pretty. That's why I kind of only watch like old animes that I've watched. You know, where I truly know that I'll have a great time watching because I pretty much experienced it already. And let's be for real, I am very not into shonen anymore. I'm only there for, I'm only there to like watch fight scenes and that's it, as a way to study and use reference. But as a form of entertainment, having a great time, not so much. Did I put an I there? This is gonna be spelled wrong. And the main power system is once again sorcerers. So many cancelled shonen mangas for some reason like to use sorcerers because of Jujutsu Kaisen. And a part of me is like, why sorcerers? Because they have like the most confusing power system ever. It's it's literally a matter of like who has a bloodline that is much more important than them, or who has the most power, overpowered technique or whatever. They kind of butchered that word right now. I do find it weird that out of the big tree, Bleach influenced most of the 2010s manga. I guess it's because Bleach was kind of fresh. Because, you know, out of all the big tree back then, a lot of it appeals to a younger audience, and you know, the art style. I guess the art style isn't that much of a big deal, but the art style was somewhat kid friendly, but not that much. And somewhere and somehow, Bleach just ended up looking like the somewhat mature looking one out of all. Not all, but at least to the big three back then. It's probably different now when there's so fucking many. And the big three doesn't even fucking matter anymore, at least for me. The big three is basically who has the longest running fucking series at the moment. And at the point, I just didn't care. At that title. But yeah, that's basically it. Bleach just probably looked, or I guess has this appeal of like, oh look at me, I'm the cool, or it brought itself in a much more cooler manner, or mature manner. And you know, the kids are like, kids love that shit. They love to cling on things to know what they think is cool. I think it's also because it's easier to write your story that takes place in our world, unlike the fantasy world like Naruto or One Piece. Bleach kind of has like a lot of fantasy world though. Or maybe it's because I've only watched that, or the arc that I remember watching was like not really at the, you know, the actual place where the characters are at, the real world. And again, I keep forgetting like Ichigo's main cast. Like I literally, I would rather see the I I did as remember the captains more than them. And people love the Bleach captain that they made their own captains in their series like Black Clover, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Demon Slayer. Yeah, they like that ranking system shit. And also you can't blame them. But these are like tropes. Let's be for real. So nothing new, nothing strange. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It is tropes. It is like writing elements that you can make use out of. And perhaps you can have a great or creative take on it. Understandable because who remembers Chan? Yeah, I remember the captains more than them. Or maybe it's because I watched the arc where most of the screen time is like featuring the captains. To the point that they're the only ones I've seen. Or they're the only ones that I've pretty much remembered. But yeah, it's probably also the art style. Again, Bleach's art style. Well, I'm actually not sure back then, but I guess in some way it does appeal to, or it looks much more mature in comparison to other shonens. Because again, a lot of shonens back then, or a lot of popular shonens back then, is trying to appeal more to the younger spectrum of people. Probably teenagers, early teenagers, just fucking kids straight up. They probably like the edginess of it too. Of Bleach. It wasn't. I mean, Bleach isn't super edgy, but I guess in comparison to other shonens back then, I guess it is. Chad and Renji has the most losses to the point that Titikubo wrote them out of the story at one point and bring them back, only to get them wrecked. I mean, he is notorious for like creating characters, the sickest looking characters, and never using them ever again. Okay, let me just export this and check out if the colors are right. If the colors look alright and bearable enough for me, I'm not gonna edit it because I'm tired. Yeah, Bleach has most deaths victory. Oh yeah, they don't kill anyone back then. They don't kill any characters back then, except for you know the bad guys. But even that isn't explicitly shown. God, my desk is so messy. Okay, let me just check it out. But nowadays, even the main characters are dying. It's we're at the post era of like trying to be unconventional. And I guess I'm a lot more mature. You know the thing about really really mature uh stories? The problem with them yeah, they still can be pretty much successful. But let me tell you, them kids brings in the money real big real big. That's why I guess from what I've seen, I mean yeah, most of the edgy ones also, you know, blow up. Like for example, Attack on Titan, and caught the world by storm. You know, it works. But the ones that appeal to kids are like built different. Okay, let me just export the time lapses. Yeah, I remember people not accepting that Ulquiorra is permanently dead. But nowadays, every character is like dying in a shonen manga, and honestly, I'm pretty fine with it. It is just a story after all, and if it's like important to the narrative, then hopefully it hopefully it pays off. Your art always looks so bloody cool, brother. Thank you, my dude. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I sound dead right now because I'm like, it's like 4:21 a.m. Oh, not a.m. p.m. See, I'm tired. It's in the afternoon. But yeah, ugh. I miss 4:20. I miss the 4:20 mark. But yeah, I'll probably end the stream in a little bit. But I am kind of dying. I guess it's because I didn't eat that much at lunch. The Coke Zero wasn't enough to caffeinate me. Nah, except for Black Clover and Boku no Hero, they barely kill anyone off. Boku no Hero kinda appeals to a much more younger audience, so that's why they're like easing off with the devs that much. Black Clover, I really don't care about this. I really don't care about this franchise. I guess it's because of, again, having an annoying main character is always gonna be annoying. But then again, I barely give a shit about like main characters. I always ended up liking the side characters more. Oh yeah, I just learned that Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Hell's Paradise was part a trio called the Dark Edge Trio. I mean, I guess it fits the title. It's edgy as hell. Uh, definitely not making it easy for the main characters. A lot of trauma. And yeah, just overall edgy. So yeah, it fits. Okay, this is done. Just save that again. And also, yeah, I can't take Black Clover seriously. I don't know why. I guess it's just I was just disinterested to it. What was Black Clover about again? Was it about wizards? Or am I just mixing it up with fucking Fairy Tail? Because at least in Fairy Tail I got aspects to like. But in Black Clover it was just, I don't know, it was just boring. There are some designs in Black Clover that I like, but other than that, there's nothing really to write home about. Yeah, it's 7:20 p.m. here. Just woke up, and I need to go to the shop before it closes. Oof. Yeah, it's getting pretty late. But then again, it's probably on me. I did sleep around 2 a.m. My sleeping habits are so terrible nowadays. Yeah, Chainsaw Man even won an award for the most named character depths in manga. Let's go! It beat Attack on Titan, let's go! Uh, oh, hold up. Did I export this? I'll export the notes later. I'll share it on Discord. I'll also try to edit the stream on like, you know, so you can only see the tutorial parts, because there are times that on the stream we're just chilling and chatting. But that may not happen soon enough. Because I only try to do this at my free time. Black Clover is also about wizards like Fairy Tail, and their power comes from a book that floats with them. Well, then I'd rather watch Fairy Tail. I've already watched Fairy Tail, there's no need to rewatch it. Bro just killed an entire oh, right! What was it? The Gun Devil scene. Where the Gun Devil thanks his patrons. That scene is so intense. I love it so much. He even added his editor's name on the list of them. Honestly, that moment was peak. Gun Devil's Patreon. Thank you all to my supporters. Oh man, I just love that scene so much. Cause it's terrifying. And just raw as fuck. But for some reason, uh I do prefer Chainsaw Man over Jujutsu Kaisen. But for some reason, I get more spoilers in Jujutsu Kaisen. I am more updated in Jujutsu Kaisen than Chainsaw Man. Like all the spoilers and shit. It was unprompted also. I'm just scrolling around Facebook. And then, oh, there you have it, a spoiler. And then you know, when you see something, the internet just fucking sells your data. Once there's like a trending thing, it spreads real fast. So I see the spoilers on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. It's like a domino effect. Like not even for the return of the weapon of hybrids. Yeah, I'm super behind in Chainsaw Man. The only last one that I've seen of Chainsaw Man is like Denji eating Makima up, and that's it. He turned her into soup, and then he has an adopted child, and that's it. That's how way behind I am when it comes to Chainsaw Man. But in Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't even watch the fucking anime anymore. Nope, I get spoilers every day apparently. So yeah, I guess it's part of my habit because I do tend to like wait it out, you know, until like a few significant numbers of like chapters have accumulated. For me to read. Because let's be for real here, like if it's like a one chapter update, I'm just like, come on. It's too much edging for me. I can't take it. In Gojo over. Yeah, people went crazy for the thick devil made out of dead bodies. You know the thing about man, the thing about really fucked up stories, they tend to be the fans tend to be, you know, somewhat chill. I mean, yeah, they joke about the most insane thing, but typically they just chill out. Most of the time, they just are chill. But when it comes to cutesy, kid-friendly, even type of franchises, the fans are so fucking feral. But I guess that doesn't apply all the time. Let's be for real. There are some bad apples. Fujimoto trolled everyone by returning all weapon hybrids except for that one that everybody wanted to return. A true god of his and his skills. Fujimoto is such a troll, permanently, and I kind of like it that way. The fans have no power upon him. He has the higher ground. Go and fight Sukuna like he's J dude or something. I think there's the recent chapters. Okay, we're gonna talk about spoilers. If you don't want that, uh, you gotta get away from this stream. But Sukuna is in his original form now, I think. Did you see the spoilers of the recent Jujutsu Kaisen with the lightning? Yeah. Sukuna is back in his old form. Yuji is still cooking. Who God knows what the fuck he's cooking. God knows what. God knows if he's gonna do anything at all. But yeah, at this point, I'm just like waiting for Jujutsu Kaisen to like end, and if whether or not Sukuna is gonna be like, uh, still in his A game, still at the top, or if there's somebody gonna whoop his ass or not. Lightning Dude got wrecked and people lost bets because of it. I mean, why are they even betting with the Lightning Dude? Like by the time I've seen the Lightning Dude, the Lightning character, I'm just like, yeah, you don't have main character energy. You're gonna die. They lost stocks. Why would you bet on that guy? You're betting cryptocurrency for this shit. And it doesn't pay off. Honestly, deserved. Why are you betting on this stupid shit? Oh, Alright, why do people think that the lightning dude would do anything like Gojo did? Like, Gojo can literally, what, summon fucking infinity, and you think a flashing lightning guy, lightning guy is gonna do anything? I mean, yeah, light is, yeah, a strong power, but so is fucking darkness, man. And a lot of, a lot of things. But yeah, at this point, I'm just waiting for Jujutsu Kaisen to like end or what happens next, or who wins, basically. Because at this point, it's pretty much a battle royale. It is kind of like a battle royale at this point. Sorcery, cursed techniques. Fuck it, who cares? It's a fucking battle royale, man. It's Fortnite all over again. It didn't even have any defenses against Sukuna's. Oh yeah, did he use his one and only technique? Cause they kept hyping that up, right? Like, oh, I have this one technique that could bring him down, that I'm never gonna use on anybody else apart from him. I think people are waiting for Yuta and Maki to fight Sukuna. I guess they're the only ones left. Unless they make another plot twist. Lightning Dude's technique was just shooting even more. I can do this. But do you think I can do more of these? Think again. But yeah, oh, well, that was underwhelming. But then again, it's not really surprising, is it? His technique was the biggest letdown I've ever seen. Bros get scammed. You get overhyped. You fall for what was the easiest, oldest trick in the book. Cause that's the thing when it comes to stories, right? They overhype this one thing, like my ultimate technique. I'm not gonna use it until last. And you know it's gonna be underwhelming as fuck. But anyways, I forgot this character's name. Kenjaku? Is Kenjaku still around? I keep forgetting. Who's this guy siding with? Like, is he against? Is he against Sukuna and everyone else, or is that Sukuna's side? I keep forgetting. Nah, he partnered up with Sukuna so that Gojo wouldn't kill him. Oh, so he's basically not taking anybody's side, unless it's benefiting him. Is that the thing? Again, I keep confusing him because he appears sometimes and he doesn't. He made a pact with Sukuna so he can touch him. Oh, so they're basically at the same side, or at least for now. Okay, how long have we been streaming? I guess I'm gonna call it a day now, guys. Kinda getting hungry and thirsty. Wonder what's next that we have. But yeah, here's the finished illustration. Also we have the notes here for the effects that we all went through. Ninjaga's ultimate plan was to combine all Japanese people into one big curse because he's curious. And maybe add Sukuna to fusion. Oh. He kind of reminds me of someone. He kind of reminds me of Orochimaru. Orochimaru. How do you pronounce his name again? Orochimaru? Orochimaru. There's the slow one and the fast one. The dudes are just experimenting. Tripod. I think Jogger is waiting for Sukuna to get weakened by everyone so that he can use Sukuna to a curse. I mean, unless he can make a curse that pretty much eats him up. Or pretty much had no choice for him to be absorbed by the thing. Who knows? Yeah, he is like Orochimaru. Even experimented on a woman to make a human hybrid and curses. So he is. I know people make a lot of comparisons of Jujutsu Kaisen to Naruto because of the similarities. But yeah, you can't deny the similarities. But at the same time, they also make use of a trope that is like common, so eh. And people just call or consider Jujutsu Kaisen like a better version. Or I guess somewhat a realistic, logical shenanigan of Jujutsu in comparison to Naruto. Because Naruto, yeah, made use of the power of friendship all that much. Really? I thought it was more similar to Bleach. No, it's... I guess the first few parts, kinda. Because Sukuna is inside of Yuji. You know, kinda like the QB and fucking inside of him. And you know, the trio with a teacher that is covering their eyes instead of their face. But yeah. I'm gonna call it a day now though. That's enough chit chat. Cause I gotta rummage downstairs to find some snacks. But here's a complete illustration once again. Blaziken. If you guys also have like suggestions of like which Pokemon I should use as a reference, feel free to let me know. Heck, you might even see your favorite Pokemon. But for now, the next one I have in line is Garchomp because of course it's Garchomp. How could I not? And maybe a few Pokemon in like the newer gens. I should check out the newer gens. But a lot of the newer gens are already humanoids, so they're a little bit boring. But hey, it's a great challenge for me to like also design characters. Fun little challenge, and perhaps if you want to try it also, there you go. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me now, guys. It's goodbye from me now. Thanks again for joining me today, and hope you guys have a great day, great night, and all that good stuff. And hopefully next time I can stream the Garchomp one. But who knows? See y'all later, guys. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll be scheduling that, so you guys can get a heads up. Again, thanks again now, guys. Bye bye. Laters. Peace.